The gun laws in 40 of these states are still in place based on the decision. Not good enough, but it's. I think it's a bad decision. I think it's not reasoned accurately, but I'm disappointed.
The Supreme Court has delivered a landmark decision with far-reaching consequences by eliminating concealed carry laws. This ruling represents a significant shift in the landscape of firearms regulations, fundamentally altering the way individuals can carry concealed weapons. It challenges the authority of states to restrict concealed carry, potentially paving the way for national concealed carry reciprocity. This decision is poised to reshape the ongoing debate over Second Amendment rights and the regulation of firearms. It has ignited discussions about the balance between individual gun rights and public safety, setting the stage for potential legal battles and policy changes in the realm of firearms regulation. The Supreme Court's most important decision about concealed carry rules came from a case in Massachusetts, which shows how important this decision is. The case is about a person who was traveling through Massachusetts with a concealed carry license from the state of New Hampshire. This simple-looking situation led to a complicated legal discussion about how state-specific gun laws and Second Amendment rights affect each other. How does the recent Bruin decision redefine the Second Amendment's scope and influence concealed carry laws? And how does historical precedent shape the constitutionality of firearms regulations? Let's delve into the legal intricacies and evolving landscape of concealed carry rights, where constitutional dilemmas, legal battles, and public safety concerns collide. Basically, the suit Mr. Dean Donald got in trouble with the law when he was pulled over for a possible Dewey in Massachusetts, and gun was found in his pocket. Non-residents of Massachusetts have to get a separate concealed carry license from the state. Mr. Donald said that this rule went against his Second Amendment rights. The court's decision in this case highlights the critical role of legal precedent, particularly the recent Bruin decision, which redefined the relationship between the Second Amendment and state-specific firearms regulation. It has now set a precedent that could influence future challenges to similar state restrictions on non-resident firearm carrying. This case serves as a microcosm of the broader debate surrounding the Second Amendment and concealed carry laws, raising questions about the extent of constitutional rights across state lines. The court's ruling not only impacts Mr. Donald, but also carries the potential to trigger a cascade of legal challenges and discussions regarding the harmonization of concealed carry laws on a national scale. The court's citation of the Bruin decision as a precedent in the recent concealed carry case has profound implications for the interpretation of the Second Amendment and the landscape of firearms regulation. Bruin, a 6-3 Supreme Court decision that preceded this case, marked a seismic shift in how the Second Amendment is understood and applied. In the Bruin decision, the Supreme Court established a two-step framework for evaluating the constitutionality of firearms regulations. First, it determined whether the individual's conduct fell within the plain text of the Second Amendment. If it did, the government's regulation then had to be justified based on the historical tradition of firearms regulation in the United States. This framework redefined the relationship between the Second Amendment and existing firearm statutes, emphasizing the importance of historical precedent in evaluating the constitutionality of such regulation. It placed a significant burden on the government to establish a historical grounding for any limitations on an individual's exercise of Second Amendment rights. By citing Bruin as a precedent in the concealed carry case, the court effectively extended its influence, reshaping the interpretation of the Second Amendment in the context of concealed carry regulation. This underscores the court's commitment to a consistent and principled approach to evaluating the constitutionality of firearms laws, with potentially far-reaching implications for future legal challenges and discussions surrounding the Second Amendment scope and applicability. The recent Supreme Court ruling to eliminate concealed carry laws has set the stage for a significant challenge to state-specific concealed carry regulations and the potential establishment of national concealed carry reciprocity. This decision has ignited discussions about the balance between states' authority to regulate firearms and the potential for a more uniform approach to concealed carry permits across the entire nation. Traditionally, Concealed carry laws have been governed at the state level, leading to a patchwork of regulations where the requirements to obtain a concealed carry permit vary widely from one state to another. The Supreme Court's decision challenges this state-by-state approach by striking down a law that prohibited non-residents from carrying concealed firearms in a specific state. As a result, this ruling raises the prospect of national concealed carry reciprocity, where a concealed carry permit issued in one state would be recognized and valid in all other states. Such a system could streamline the process for law-abiding citizens who wish to carry concealed firearms when traveling across state lines, providing a more consistent and predictable framework for concealed carry. However, it's important to note that the path to national concealed carry reciprocity is still uncertain and may face legal and political challenges. Nevertheless, the ruling has initiated a conversation about the need for greater consistency in firearms regulations and the potential implications of a more unified approach to concealed carry permits on a national scale. The debate over state-specific laws versus national reciprocity is likely to continue, shaping the future of firearms regulation in the United States. Historical precedent plays an integral role in shaping the constitutionality of firearms regulations within the United States legal framework. This concept reflects the notion that the framers of the Constitution intended for the Second Amendment, which addresses the right to bear arms, to be interpreted in light of historical context and tradition. When evaluating the constitutionality of firearms regulations, the courts often consider whether the regulation aligns with historical practices and regulations related to firearms. This entails assessing whether the regulation is consistent with the long-standing tradition of firearm usage and restrictions that existed before, during, and after the founding of the nation. The significance of historical precedent was underscored by the Supreme Court's decision in District of Columbia v. Heller, 2008, which clarified that the Second Amendment protects an individual's right to possess firearms for self-defense within their home. The court relied on historical sources and legal traditions dating back to the late 18th century to support its interpretation. The recent Supreme Court decision eliminating concealed carry laws has cast a spotlight on a complex constitutional dilemma concerning concealed carry rights across state lines. This dilemma arises from the inherent tension between the Second Amendment's guarantee of the right to bear arms and the diverse state-specific regulations governing concealed carry. The Constitution, including the Second Amendment, is a federal document that applies uniformly across all states. However, when it comes to concealed carry laws, the patchwork of state regulations creates a constitutional paradox. While citizens possess the right to bear arms as protected by the Second Amendment, this right appears to wane or expand as individuals cross state borders, depending on the specific laws in place. In essence, lawful gun owners who are fully entitled to carry concealed firearms in their home state may find themselves on the wrong side of the law when they enter a state with different concealed carry rules. This stark contrast in rights between one's home state and other states raises questions about equal protection under the law and the portability of constitutional rights. The Supreme Court's decision underscores the need for legal clarity and consistency in addressing this constitutional dilemma. It raises the possibility of future legal challenges aimed at achieving a more coherent and uniform approach to concealed carry rights, perhaps even paving the way for national concealed carry reciprocity, where a concealed carry permit issued in one state would be recognized in all states. The recent Supreme Court ruling that eliminates concealed carry laws has sparked concerns about public safety due to its potential impact on firearms regulations. These concerns are multifaceted and revolve around the potential consequences of loosening restrictions on concealed carry. A potential rise in the number of accidents and incidents involving firearms is one of the key sources of concern. It is possible that more people will carry concealed guns in public places if concealed carry permits become easier to obtain, or if a nationwide system of concealed carry reciprocity is established. Critics believe that this may lead to a higher likelihood of unintentional discharges, disputes turning into violence, and the potential for firearms slipping into the wrong hand. They also say that this may increase the number of people who have access to firearms. A further cause for concern is the possibility of difficulties in law enforcement. It may become more difficult for law enforcement officials to determine who is carrying a hidden weapon legally and who is not if concealed carry laws are loosened or if the regulations greatly differ from state to state. Because of this ambiguity, their efforts to protect public safety and properly respond to possible threats may be made more difficult. So that's all for this video. Subscribe if you want to watch more videos like this.